Okay. So I will not be discouraged. I'm going to keep reading this book on these lives. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna be discouraged. It's in for look, and also look, so here's one of the things I look at with this. This is very first hub is to keep showing up, is to keep showing up. And so I lost the internet for this like a bunch of days this week. So kind of like lowered my momentum in some ways. Other ways it kind of provided some like a blissful um like I don't know, blissful was it the word like sort of oasis from a bunch of like kind of internety stuff. But here I am, here we are. And yeah, I mean, I'll ask, if like, please like and comment in here. I think that one of the things, like, I've done some Facebook Lives, and one of the things that I absolutely loved about that is how it became a conversation in some of them, and how ultimately this kind of like from the pulpit vibe of like reading it and being like, is I don't know, it's like this is really for first of all for contemplation, but also for like participation, both in terms of like, so when I say contemplation, if you're reading the book, it's like it's pretty evocative, so it sort of leads to contemplation. Sometimes it can be extra activating, but also the discussion and the thing. So right now, I'm working on really the ideation and really understanding how to create the like basically I'll just say like products and supports and the like the infrastructure to really lend to people's practices here. And even throughout having the book published and out, is I get to talk to people about what they're experiencing with this, and that provides this really powerful, like, first I'd call it a validation because it is, but it's also something that it's so ice each person, and every day now it's like a couple, like, so it used to be like 1 a day, and now it's like probably like 2, sometimes 3 people a day who talk to me about what's happening with their practice in the book or have questions for me. And I think the thing that's really important about it is that there's kind of a shared sentiment that I've heard from a number of people. I've heard for a long time, which is like, I wish more people were in this. And I'm like, they are. One thing, I'm really protective about the how personal this practice is. So when people talk to me about it, I'm really like, I don't disclose anything about it, which is also leads to, I mean, it's a, like, I guess you call it like a marketing challenge, which is, that like these incredible things that are happening that I can't disclose them ethically. I mean, it's like, but look, the thing is this, I mean, if you're in the book, it's so obvious to like, it's like what happens with this, like what comes up, and what's possible. So some of it isn't even that heavy. If you're in the back passages, if you're in the back chapters working more on just like straight up in terms of building and creating things, and because that's like kind of my like sort of, was it secular world like strength is like building and creating things, like business stuff, like that, like just getting into that, because there's stuff and it's like very practically stated with techniques and exercises. They're really usable. So, there's that too. So anyway, if, like what I'm trying to get to, and it's taken me 4+ minutes to, is that I really want this to be a shared experience. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be, but it's my hope. It is my hope. And yeah. And also another disclosure about this month with filming these, like, it's been really hard. I've been really like transitioning out of having finished the book, been really overextended, my own nervous system being pretty blown out. And and so right now I'm just in the process of kind of like coming back to life. And it's looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's like week 4. And it's still a little like kind of wobbly, but it's coming through. It's another thing. I really like I want to share with people as people tell me about their practice. I want to talk to people about like this as a practice, not as a model of me being someone that is like preaching this. I practice this. Like I practice this. I mean, today I woke up and I felt, I don't know if anybody wants to hear this, but so I'll give like the shortest version is that I woke up and I felt really uneasy. And, and so the tug of like anyone, and in this case, myself, between security and safety of what's familiar and kind of like destiny and creation of unknown things. That tug is really like when you're in one or the other tends to like call to you. So when you're like stabilized, but like maybe feeling stuck, it's like the siren song of your destiny. And when you're seeking out your destiny, there's the siren song of stability. So part of the thing with Parinama is like the central tenet of this is to like seek out the positive intent and seek out like to be on your side with things. And like in a past iteration of myself, maybe I would have been like sought out meaning for that or been hard on myself, but instead it was just like I just had a tough morning. I just had a tough morning where I felt just the feelings of feeling like I'd call it more like anxiety, like like unsettled feelings. And the thing is like it was very first hub, and a couple things happened that like sort of exacerbated my kind of like things that had to do with like physical like stuff. It was all theoretical because it's like related to finance stuff. I was just reading it. It's all stuff that it's not like I don't have any financial pressures in the conventional sense, but just activating that kind of exacerbated me. And um and so yeah, I mean I was in like, and so going into that, and then, I went and I got my pedicure and I did some shopping and stuff, which that sounds like kind of out of touch bougie crap, but um mm, but so and it like really, and I still felt pretty bad. And the kind of like there's been some despair that I've been feeling lately. Not feeling it now. And let me tell you why. Because I did a Parinama practice, which was seeking out really where the feeling is. Um, and it turned out that it was very much related to grief. So when we get to the fourth hub, we'll talk about those practices. But I did a really effective one. So now I feel like really on the other side of it. But this like I don't know, that might be TMI, but I mean here we are. I'm talking to myself right now. Just like so hi. Hi me. And hi you. If there's somebody that eventually watches this. I hope so. I hope. Hi. Okay, so let's do some reading. We're on page 78, and I'm really bullish to get through these techniques and exercises for the first hub. I've been doing just as it like I've been doing more research and work on things that relate to the second hub, which we'll be reading next, which is like wickedly evocative. Certainly still is for me. So it'll be interesting to go through that. And I'm really eager to. I really like have hunger for it. So anyhow, but we're still in the first hub, so let's do this. So physical boundary. So you are the only person who should decide who enters your physical space. To reclaim this, we first work on ownership. Your body is your domain. Although many of us have been socialized to be polite with folks who casually invade the physical boundary, and so we struggle to uphold it. Once you become certain of your boundary, maintaining and forcing it becomes a challenge of second guessing and making uncomfortable exceptions. So, one of the things, if you come from the yoga world, like there's this notion that, I remember people used to say to me, like, that's not very yoga of you. If I did anything like drew a hard line or spoke up or said anything, because there's this kind of idea that transcendence and actualization and even enlightenment represent a state where there's just like nothing is upheld, where everything is just completely acceptable as it is in this very particular way that, quite frankly, I think is really underdeveloped. Because the thing is, it's like a yes to accepting things as they are, with a very important caveat that you're accepting them, but we must be accountable for ourselves. Like it sort of makes the whole idea that you should be like radically accepted a little bit less fun when your own impact on the integrity and the humanity of other people, or you're even that you shouldn't be questioned, that it's like I said it, so it arose from me, so it like represents some truth. So there's this kind of like infantilization in the yoga world that is like, it's sort of, and it's very like passive. And so, so one of the things I think that's really particularly funny is that I used to feel a little bit confused about that, where I used to think like, well, yeah, am I kind of like, it's like very like this notion of this sort of like very submissive, feminine energy is, it's very like sexy and like totally like, like open and willing. Um, subservient and like, yes, and soft and easy and gentle. Spending a lot of time talking about this. But the thing that really surprised me with Parinama method and the process of actually becoming actualized through it is that I became a lot less nice. And nice in the sense of like my boundaries. And even things like, like it happened today where I went into the Nespresso store, and the person at the counter just made no effort. And so in a previous version of myself, I would have felt like that was a call for me to like really like make that interaction like pleasant. But instead I didn't really have that much extra energy. So I just showed up really neutral. So I didn't add anything to it. I didn't try to optimize it. And I could really actually I could sense that that was read as being like there was like a little bit of like standoffish energy towards the end of the interaction. And I think that that's like one of those things. Like that used to be like troublesome for me, and now it's not. I just look at it and I think like, well, you know what? If it's okay if you don't want to, show up for this interaction in any way that's like expansive or upbeat, but I'm not either. Like I'll meet your energy here. I'm not going to be offended by it. So that's something I think that's very like post parinama of me. The other thing is my boundaries, and these have been some of them I was already really good at upholding, but the ones that are actually like time, physical boundary, these are all things that actually just like this relationship with myself that I wish for everyone is really just this kind of this sense of real like protection and care, you know? It's very deep. It's like I was reading this thing that was like about mothering and that mother is nurture, protection, and guidance. Like that's the, like the three pillars of mothering. So there's this kind of like entering into like a maternal relationship with yourself where you're protecting yourself by upholding the physical boundaries. So, okay. So a couple exercises here. I've kind of gone off the page per usual. So feel the container. So the first step towards owning your body is to establish its parameter. You do this when you wash your body in the shower, dry off, apply lotion. Adding the conscious element makes this a first hub practice. Yeah. Boop. Okay. Say to yourself, I am here, and this is mine. As your hands are on your legs, arms, and torso, lightly pat your body. Next, move your hands on the same path, and again say, I'm in here. This is mine. This can also be done during the day, fully clothed by tapping the perimeter while quietly or silently repeating, I'm here. This is mine. This phrase is particularly useful if you're feeling overwhelmed because big emotions tend to feel bigger than our bodies. The human right of this hub is a reminder that your birth alone is what establishes your right to exist and to take up space. There is no merit to be earned. The proof of your worth is your existence. So, yeah. I'm kind of like so part of the thing is like in this like thing of parameter, it's kind of like seems like almost, it seems a little hokey, of course, but it's like really bringing in, and you can also do it by just bringing yourself to the sensation of your skin, if you can access that, even when you're lying in bed, bring to a very subtle and sublime sensation and coming into that. So even if you wake up overwhelmed, try to bring yourself into, even without touching yourself, to just this sensation of the air or your clothing on your skin, and feel like when you're breathing, bring yourself into your body and really the containment. So take up space. So many of us, especially women, are socialized to believe that taking up space is impolite. It's rude to have the flesh of your leg take up more than your seat, while men, often without knowing they do it, are more likely to feel comfortable taking up extra space by manspreading. For a woman to be excessively self-conscious and apologetic about the amount of space she needs is often considered charming and socially desirable. This respects other boundaries over consideration of one's own need to occupy space and is also related to power. See chapter 6. Yeah. Oof. That's a fact. There are subtle, profound implications when apologizing for needing space for your body. The hypervigilance about invading someone else's boundary can lead to apologizing when someone invades your space by bumping into you or squeezing by you in tight quarters. It's challenging to feel personal freedom and power when you're trying to be physically smaller and apologizing for existing. Before you practice comfortably occupying the area your body requires in the larger world, grow your inner practice in places where you feel safe. Taking the space you need starts in your own private life by allowing your thighs to flop out on the couch and giving yourself a little smile when you see yourself standing tall and unapologetic when inhabiting the space you require. This is a huge one. This is a really big one. There's so much that could be said on this. This is a great example of something that would be a really good, pretty delightful, energized conversation. So hug yourself. So somatic therapists use the self-hug or the hands on heart to reduce a stress response and to begin releasing oxytocin, the comfort hormone. This is something you can do for yourself. Simply place both hands, one over the other, on your heart and direct your focus to this act of connection. Simple. All right. So as Peter Levine explains, the body is the container of all your sensations and feelings. Two of his practices help settle the nervous system. So place your right hand under your armpit of your left arm. Place your left hand on your right shoulder. Get a feeling of what is going on in your body. Many people report a settling feeling. Hold for a few moments or a few minutes, whatever feels right for you. So this is like, let's take a minute with this. Moment, rather. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that settling. Oh boy, it's nice. And the next is place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your forehead. So feel what goes on between the hands. Hold for a few moments or longer. So once there is a sense of connection, move your right hand from your forehead to your stomach and allow yourself to feel the connection between the hands. Both practices can be used before sleep to relax the nervous system. Tapping is also helpful to soothe and manage feelings and emotions. See chapter 5. So much to look forward to in the upcoming chapters. Next is consistency and completion as we move through. So anyway, thank you. Please please comment. Anything, any engagement is really exciting and encouraging for me. Any suggestions? I've loved it, like where people have written to me and said, one of the things in the other videos is I've gotten some really great constructive feedback about editing, which I completely agree with. And that's on the roadmap for what I'm hoping to be working on in the next month. So yeah. And just anything you have to say is just so interesting in terms of your responses. And even if you have opinions contrary to the stuff that I'm talking about, I love that. And I love you. And I can't wait to see you next time. All right. Bye.